Welcome back, Hamden Catholic. So we left off in class talking about Roman social structure, and we were talking about their moves towards a government, right? So we had a lot of vocab terms that were thrown out there, like dictator, senator, plebe, patrician, consuls, republic, etc., right? We got to get to our end result, okay? So really quick, who are the wealthy in Rome again? Good job, Laura. The patricians, right? And then who are do you know what the poor people in Rome were called, Mr. Crawford?
Peons.
No.
I do not.
Plebeians. Say plebeian.
Plebeian.
Oh my God, look how smart he is. It's ridiculous. All right, so anyway, so the plebeians, right, were the ones in Rome. Now, remember, plebeians make up 90% of the masses, even though they weren't allowed to participate in the government, right? So, anyway, these are the other group. Right? This is the other group that went with them, or went below everything, right? Slaves were at the very, very bottom of society. They were not counted as citizens, and many were freed, actually, when their owners died, right? Some were even given a chance to buy their freedom. Some of you are like, wait a minute, you could buy your freedom as a slave, but I thought you worked for free. We'll talk about that stuff later on tomorrow. Don't worry, okay? But there were some circumstances when a slave could buy their own freedom, right? And if their owner died, they could actually be freed as well. So I'd be a little bit tempted to be like, right? Anyway, now, so in all classes, the men ruled the household. Women helped make decisions and give advice to their husbands, but not a lot of big stuff. And then women could also take no part in the government whatsoever. So it's very, very biased. Now, we talked about, like, this all ties into your essay. You can use this as some essay fodder when you're talking about gender roles being comparable to modern-day Western societies, right? So let's keep going. Happy smiley face jumping rope. Why? I don't know. Just felt like going in there. Now, anyway, first of all, patricians. Remember, don't write this. There's a small number of wealthy Roman families that hold all the government power, and the plebeians are most of the population, artisans, shopkeepers, peasants, etc. Here we go. This is a more important thing. Early on, class was determined by birth. Wealthy plebeians could not become patricians. So who's the biggest plebe in our classroom? Oh, yeah, Angela, right? So if Angela is this smelly, dirty little plebe walking down the street, right? And then, what's up, Carney? Yeah, go ahead, I don't care. If Angela is a plebeian and she's walking down the street, right, and then she runs up on this wealthy patrician, and she just watches this patrician just, like, die on the spot, right? So if she goes into his pockets and takes all of his money and becomes, like, one of the wealthiest people in all of Rome, is she ever going to be able to be a patrician? No. She's going to be a plebeian until the day that she dies, right? Your class was determined by your birth. Both classes had the right to vote, but only patricians can hold political, religious, or military office, all right? Plebeians had to serve in the army, and also they had to pay the taxes. So the plebeians are getting the short end of the stick right now. Each 2 years, consuls were, hold on, let me see if I can move this out of the way for you a little bit. How about we'll just move me like over into the side a little bit. Hold on. Here we go. Yeah, just listen closely. So each 2 years, each year, 2 consuls were elected, right? So a consul only ruled for a term of 1 year. Now, they were elected by the Senate. The people didn't vote on the consuls. The consuls were elected by the Senate. They were the chief officials that watch over the entire government. Now, 2 were elected so that no one person could have all the power in the Roman government, right? We're going to create a graphic organizer out of all this stuff tomorrow, so don't worry yourself too much right now. So consuls led the army. They were also judges, also called praetors, right? Now, they had the same power as early kings, but they could only serve for 1 year, and they can also veto each other's actions, right? Now, they can't serve after that for another 10 years. Write that down. Can't serve again for another 10 years. This is to prevent people from abusing power and to keep being elected over and over and over again. But 10 years later, if I was consul and then waited 11 years, I could run again. So anyway, during an emergency, the consuls would appoint a dictator to lead for 6 months. Now, hold on. So to lead the entire Roman government until the war was over, and then within 6 months after the war, the dictator was supposed to step down and return the government back to the republic. Now, even the 2 consuls, the leaders of the government, had to obey the dictator's rules, right? So, here's the only thing, though. The consuls were advised by the Senate, and the 300 senators were elected for life. They controlled the treasury and all of the foreign policy. So if the Romans wanted to go to war, they had to discuss it with the Senate first, right? Now, senators also had to be patricians, and we can see where this is all becoming really, really unfair. So, to continue forward, though, senators were the most powerful group in the entire government. They initiated laws, they debated laws, they passed laws, they sent the army, they did all of these things, and it's a group of 300 patricians. No plebeians allowed, right? So, this is very unfair. The Roman Republic was not a democracy because not every citizen had the same power, and slaves had absolutely no rights, right? This is one of those conflicts we talked about early on with the conflictions of early Western civilizations, right? In 494 BC, though, the plebeians are actually going to withdraw from Rome because they're like, you know what? You ain't trying to help us out. We're just going to quit and we're going to start our own government. Eat that, right? So, and they form their own assembly. Do you think the patricians listened? Take 2 seconds. Think about it. Write down on your notes, yes or no. Do you think the patricians listened? Here we go. For all of those of you who wrote yes, it's because the patricians realized that if they didn't help the plebeians out, the Roman economy would fall into chaos, right? The plebeians are the backbone of the economy. Patricians don't make anything, right? The plebeians make everything. The plebeians are craft workers, traders, merchants, farmers, soldiers, everything, and they're 90% of the entire populace. So they agreed to add a group of people to the Roman government, right? Now, the Roman government would add these people, 10 of them, and they're called tribunes, right? We're going to talk about the tribunes in about 2 seconds, okay? So let's go ahead and actually get to the tribunes. Here we go. They're called tribunes, right? Now, tribunes were elected to protect plebeians' rights, okay? 10 of them. They had to be plebeians. They hold office for 1 year. They can initiate laws, but their biggest power is they can veto the Senate. If they feel that a law violates plebeian rights, they were allowed to veto that law coming out of the Senate. Now, veto, underneath this in veto, or underneath veto, right, in Latin, veto actually means to send back, right? It doesn't mean to just completely eliminate. Like if they sent this law, right, this pen is now a law, okay? And if they sent this, and I'm a tribune, I'm going to be like, no, we're going to send this back, we're going to veto this law, right? And then the Senate takes it away, but then they bring it back looking like this. Notice I switched the cap around, right? They change the law to help the plebeians out. They could actually keep that law going, right? It means send back, not destroy. So let's go back there really quick. What do you think some things that the plebeians wanted, though, right? What were the laws called again that the Romans had created recently? Good freaking job, all of you. I heard all of you shout it out. So impressive. The 12 tables, right? So the 12 tables were actually going to be posted in the forum. Why does posting your laws make it more fair? Good job, Natalie Berry. Because now many plebeians who can't read, unfortunately, can actually go and reference the laws, right? They're no longer hidden. So if something actually went wrong, a plebeian who wanted to prosecute a patrician could actually go to the 12 tables, post it in the forum, much like the Greek Agora, and say, boom, law says you can't do that to me, right? Plebeians are also eventually going to gain equal rights. Eventually, write this down, with those equal rights, one of the consuls by 400 AD, one of the consuls by 300 AD had to be a plebeian, right? And continuing forward, there we go. So we talked about the tribunes already. Bang, bang. Here we go. There we go. By 367 BC, the government had become more democratic, and by 287 BC, complete equality had been reached. 2 consuls are going to come in, 1 patrician, 1 plebeian, right? So that is going to be all that we have for this evening. I hope you all have a great day, Camden Catholic. Start thinking in your mind how you would graphically organize this Roman government chart, and we'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow, okay? I'll see y'all then. Enjoy yourself.